ambitious project. Pauline and Simon have decided to build not one but 2 luxury villas, even though they've never done anything like this before. They're investing every penny they can lay their hands on into this project in a country they know very little about. And all of this while based in Nottingham. If it works, they'll be financially sorted for life. If it doesn't, they'll be in more debt than they ever dreamed of.
I can see that obviously there are going to be loads of potential pitfalls. Trying to build 2,000 miles away is never going to be easy. It's not easy in the UK.
They bought this plot of land in the small fishing village of Bigother on the west coast. It cost £64,000 and came with planning permission for 2 villas.
Approximately where we're standing now will be this perimeter here. And the 2 villas are mirror images of one another, so they'll sit starting from here to the end of the headland. This will take us up to the road, 1 floor above road level. We're actually higher than the rocks are at the moment, so the views just are beyond belief, really. They're just absolutely stunning.
As if this project wasn't risky enough, these villas are a design first here. There's almost nothing like them in the entire country. Both will have 3 floors with modern luxury fittings, each with 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms and a swimming pool.
It's very close to my heart, and the actual structures themselves, being a designer, are very important to me, you know, and the actual overall impression that it's going to give from the sea, from various areas, you know, all those elements for me are very exciting.
Despite never having done anything like this before, Pauline is taking the incredible step of designing both villas herself.
As far as the overall picture is concerned, the project in Montenegro is basically my baby, but of course Simon's here backing me up all the way through.
Designing and building your first ever overseas project on such a grand scale and so far away from home is not for the faint-hearted.
You don't go into this with a huge degree of certainty. You go into it taking an amount of risk, and that is what we're taking.
We're both aware that, you know, it's not going to be the easiest walk in the world, but we're prepared to take it.
It's October 2005, and Pauline is on her way to Montenegro to meet her team of local architects. They now have plans based on her designs, and she needs to approve these in order to kickstart the project.
Nervous, no. Excited, yes. Today is the first day that we're going to spend in Montenegro with actual plans on paper. Can't wait to get there and see the plans in situ. Into somewhere.
This is first floor, ground floor.
Ground floor, okay.
We will start
from the top.
From up, yes.
Yeah.
But instead of approving the designs, Pauline starts making changes to them.
No, when we come in, yes. I'd like to walk into an open space. Can we lose that somewhere? We have a concept at home called family bathroom, which is a bathroom that's accessible by anybody, including guests. So if we can move this, yes, so it's not there as we walk in. Okay. It's not difficult to maintain.
Of course.
Okay. Just checking.
The architects are forced to go back to the drawing board, and until they're finished, the builders can't even quote for the work.
In terms of design, yes, I will push it to its absolute limit, but I also am aware that there is a finite amount of money, and if at the end of the day I have to sacrifice some of the design to keep within budget, then that's what I'll have to do.
I am aware of her imaginative, creative manner, and there's not much that I could say that would stop that going ahead, frankly.
That's been very interesting, and I think we understand one another now.
This is an unprecedented build, but Pauline needs to keep her big design ideas in check if she wants to maximise her profits, which, if she gets it all right, could be huge.
We think that a completed building ought to be worth in the region of 1.2 million. Would you agree with that kind of price?
Sponsored by ING Direct Home Insurance.
The Magic of Ballet is a new magazine collection that brings ballet to life. Live the dream with the magic of ballet, including rose charm and bracelet.
If the universe is always expanding, then what are we expanding into?
Do animals understand humans?
Is plastic surgery right or wrong?
What are we going to do when the oil runs out?
Why is the sky blue?
Why do we dream?
How we make sweets. Why do we have tattoos?
Why do people keep saying stuff like blondes are dumb and brunettes are boring?
Can you cry underwater?
What's the difference between fluff and dust?
Is your life set out in a certain path, or is it just a load of random choices?
Award-winning buffalo mozzarella, drizzled in rich Tuscan extra virgin olive oil. Seafood risotto of sumptuous king prawns, scallops, and fresh wild rocket. Crisp frizzante Pinot Grigio from the vines of northern Italy. Extra creamy tiramisu, soaked in sweet coffee, dusted with fine dark cocoa. This is not just food. This is M&S food.
Wish you could find a great mortgage deal that lasted more than 2 years. Here's an idea. Moving to a different kind of mortgage. One that won't tie you in.
One that will always track just above the Bank of England base rate.
The Abbey Flexible Plus Mortgage. You'll never need to change your mortgage again. Visit your local branch, call 0800 80 80 80 or go to abbey.com. Abbey. More ideas for your money.
Are you lost?
Oi! Oi, you! What are you looking at? What's your problem? Get your dog off!
What are you talking about?
Oi!
Come on now, other people live round here.
Leave it out, mate. Hello, John. You all right? Oh, you'll never guess what happened.
Police community support officers. Could you?
Snow Patrol. It's about the music.
I know I should put something away for the future. The question is, where do I put it? An ISA? A tracker? Investment bonds? What about with profits? Or is my best bet a balanced managed fund? Whatever that is. I know one thing for certain. I'm totally confused.
Make sense of investments with Norwich Union. Speak to a financial advisor.
Partners. Let's finish this.
Who would you kill for?
I'd die for. Kill for.
He had my soul between his teeth, Frank.
You took me in one, wasn't it?
Starring Mark Strong and Brian McCarty in a powerful new two-part drama, Low Winter Sun, next Thursday at 9 on 4.
Sponsored by ING Direct Home Insurance.
The Hart Chaplins are taking the chance of a lifetime. They've downsized in the UK to stake everything on the high-risk market of Montenegro.
Yeah.
Pauline and Simon are investing hundreds of thousands of pounds into a developing country that until 7 years ago was a war zone. They're hoping to get in at the beginning of a new booming market, but it's one hell of a gamble. There are a lot of national economic and political issues that can affect the market, driving it dramatically up or down, regardless of what you do with your own investment. Less than a decade ago, the entire region was ravaged by the Balkans War, and uncertainty still hangs over its political future. Montenegro and neighbouring Serbia are facing a vote on whether they break up and become independent from one another. This is making the property market here very unstable.
It's the classic emergent property market over there. It's clearly been stagnant for many years because of the war and the sanctions that followed. And what you've got now is a situation whereby the market's got to find its feet and find its level.
It may be very high risk, but it's also incredibly beautiful. Unspoilt and undeveloped, it's a nature lover's paradise, with fjords, clean beaches and breathtaking scenery. It's no wonder Pauline fell in love with the location.
The landscape is absolutely fabulous. If you're only into white beaches and palm trees, then it's not for you. But if you like dramatic landscapes and just the most fabulous seas, the weather is fantastic. The fact that you can be on the coast and within a couple of hours you could be skiing, you know, so it has those huge benefits. Montenegro is a small country with a very small coastline. It's starting to become increasingly popular very quickly, and therefore we can see that the luxury villa end is on its way. We'd just like to be the pioneering, you know, first people in there doing it.
They're investing everything in a country with a totally unfamiliar culture and language. So sensibly, Pauline and Simon are employing a local Brit, estate agent Mark Ulnett, to be their man on the ground.
We'll be working very closely with Pauline. Our job really is to help document her wishes in terms of her design brief and to communicate that with the architects when she's absent. Pauline will be here quite a lot. She'll be hands-on involved throughout the project.
It's late October and Pauline is back in Montenegro to review the plans.
The meeting that we're on our way to is with Dragan Comatina, who is the senior architect of the group. What we're looking at here is, ideally, modifications that can be done fairly quickly.
There are certain elements that we discussed when I originally briefed them that, you know, perhaps have gotten slightly lost in translation over the, literally, I mean, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating.
We change that kitchen here.
Drop this all back and drop it in here.
Finally, they meet with her approval, and the builders will now be able to draw up an accurate costing for the build.
You write, I agree with the preliminary briefs, and sign and the date. And giving green light for starting of producing of main project. To make sense, you know.
Now we can start.
Pauline has budgeted £280,000 to build both villas. She's allowed £6,000 for legal fees and travel, and with the land, it brings the total outlay to £350,000. But if they were to sell both for a total of £800,000, it would give them a whopping pre-tax profit of £450,000. To achieve this, staying on budget will be crucial. However, when the builder's quote arrives in Nottingham 2 weeks later, it's bad news. Instead of their estimated £280,000 for both houses, the quote's £420,000. Pauline's luxury finishes have pushed costs sky high.
Are we having normal aircon where you've just got a box on the wall? No, it's discreet, hidden, combined with a heating system. Are we having ordinary glass in the windows? No, we're not having ordinary glass in the windows. You know, we're having glass that keeps the glare of the sun out, etc., etc.
It looks super.
Are we having ordinary bog standard bathroom fittings? No, I wouldn't think we will be for 1 minute.
Simon and Pauline now need an extra £140,000 to build both villas, but as yet their actual resale value is still unknown.
We don't build two then. If we build two at that cost, that's lumping all our eggs into the one basket, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Plus, we're going to be needing to borrow over and above what we've already got in place.
That's right. If truth be known, we haven't got a clue what they'll sell for.
But Pauline decides against scaling down her design.
Yeah,
Having gone through the process we've gone through on deciding that we would go down this avenue of a very high spec property and to go for the top end of the market, we've accepted that that is the building cost.
Instead, she reckons they can finish one villa with the money they have and build the shell of the second one. So after 5 months of design and budget delays, building work starts with a bang in February 2006.
And it actually cuts away.
Giant rocks are exploded and excavated to make way for the foundations.
Fantastic. I can see it all now. Absolutely marvellous. It's just seeing it, you know, progress after looking at plans for so long to actually be here and see it actually happening is good.
Whilst the build progresses, Pauline will be making regular visits to Montenegro, staying in a small bedsit near the site. It's a far cry from her old designer lifestyle back in the UK.
This is my temporary home. It's not exactly the Ritz, but hey, it's okay. This isn't a huge hardship, but it is a serious proposition that we're taking on here. This isn't a jolly, this isn't a holiday, this is business. The light at the end of the tunnel in terms of mortgage-free, as soon as that house is sold, that's the situation we are in. Mortgage-free, you know, if I can achieve it, or if we can achieve it, then, you know, we're going to be very happy with the outcome.
Pauline's build is one of the many projects currently springing up in Montenegro. There's a real buzz about the region. And they're not the only UK amateurs trying their luck at making huge profits in Montenegro. Steve Goss has been working on and off in this region for the past few years as a farming consultant.
I'm sure we can build something here. I mean, look, what we've got is mountains and sea and green all together, so we've got quite a good combination.
He's also looking to pay off his £40,000 mortgage back in Hertfordshire and end up with plenty left over to reinvest.
That's a tree line, yeah?
I hope it means quite a big change in life. It means not working full-time, not working solidly from one project to the next. But I thought it's time to stop talking about it and do something.
Like Pauline, Steve is gambling everything he has. He's remortgaged his house back in the UK to raise £60,000. Plus, he's borrowed the maximum he can against his pension to raise a further £125,000. He's investing all this £185,000 in Montenegro in the hope of making a massive £200,000 profit within a year, more than enough to pay off his UK mortgage.
Really, I've put pretty well everything I've got into this investment at the moment. If it all goes wrong, I've lost everything I've saved up over quite a lot of years' work. If it comes right, I've got the kind of money that I wouldn't have had for many, many years saving. So it's one roll of the dice. It's make it or bust.
Incredibly, Steve's first project is attempting to build a block of 4 apartments on a plot of land in Herts-Egnovi. He too is aiming for luxury, building a complex with a courtyard and swimming pools surrounded by stylish 1- and 2-bedroom apartments.
Stairs going up.
It's big.
Yes.
I mean, it's massive. I mean, that looks absolutely perfect.
Steve's land and build costs will come to £350,000. As yet, he's only managed to scrape together £185,000. But Steve's starting the build anyway. He needs to sell 1 apartment before it's finished, which will give him enough money to complete the whole project. After selling all 4 apartments, Steve hopes to take home a profit of £200,000. But he has a whole building to put up first.
I mean, it's exciting. You're seeing the whole thing being transformed. We've passed the point of no return. There's no going back now. We are going to have a building, and it's going to be here.
He's entirely relying on selling 1 apartment to raise the money to finish the building. Without this sale, it will simply grind to a halt. On your first ever overseas investment, starting work without financing in place is incredibly risky. Shutting a site down halfway through is disastrous. Finding somebody to complete a half-finished building project is incredibly difficult and very expensive. By March, Pauline's villas are starting to take shape, but as yet she has no real idea what they'll sell for. Pauline asks local agent Mark to show her some new luxury developments.
So do we know how long ago these were finished?
They were finished last year, 2005. These are the apartments that have sold for 3,500 to 4,000 euros.
A square metre.
Per square metre.
That's a lot of money. We're looking at the same sort of market here. This is the level we're aiming at. And it's interesting to see just how much these are going for. And they're selling.
Pauline's surprised to learn that the flats are selling for £250,000. But selling smaller units in any market is a much simpler proposition. 1 to 2 bedroom homes are the staple diet of property developers. In Montenegro, there are no mortgages available and buyers have to pay cash, so smaller, less expensive units are especially appealing to investors. But Pauline is trying to sell a huge 4-bedroom luxury villa. What's more, she's doing it at a time when Montenegro may be about to break away from neighbouring Serbia. A referendum will soon decide its fate. Until then, the political climate and the property market will remain unstable. But Pauline is so encouraged by learning that other luxury properties are selling that she calls a meeting with top local estate agents to agree a sale price for her villas.
The price that we believe is the correct price for this particular development and the location, the style of design, the quality of design. We think that a completed building ought to be worth in the region of 1.2 million. Would you agree with that kind of pricing?
Her British agent Mark proposed a sale price of over £800,000 for each villa.
I think it's correct price.
I will be guided by those that know.
This is an extraordinary result. A price of £800,000 per villa is double Pauline's original guesstimate. They stand to make a whopping profit of over £500,000 in before-tax profits from just one villa.
When we realised that this property could be marketed around the £800,000-900,000 mark, I mean, obviously we were delighted, because what it actually reassured us of is that we'd bought into the correct market at the correct time and had gone down the correct route. We have to say, yeah, great, you know, seems like we've made all the right decisions. We just have to sell it now. Should we get the top-end price, we will have achieved our goal. It will be wonderful to be mortgage-free, and I don't see that being a problem.
Mark starts marketing early at a sale price of £830,000.
The position of the villas is quite unique. In terms of other areas of land around the villas that can be developed, there's very little in the village now that can be touched. In fact, the planning for that area has been capped off for the next 3 to 5 years, so Pauline's got a very unique site for a few years to come.
Mark's confidence is encouraging, but Pauline needs to sell one of the villas as soon as possible. Both builds are well underway, and they now run the risk of running out of money if she doesn't sell the first villa. It's April, 3 months since the start of the build. The roof is on and Pauline gets encouraging news. A Russian businessman is interested in one of the villas.
The sooner this is sold, the quicker we can get on and finish the one next door.
Dobar dan. Kako ste? Dobro dan. That's Pauline. That's Love. Dragan. Property is excellent. He likes it very much. And the view is amazing. And the air and water is fantastic here. So, what else do you need?
He may like, but sadly he does not buy.
I think probably what will happen is he'll want to see it at a stage, you know, closer to finishing before he'd commit himself.
Pauline's put her family home on the line for this, but she risks being left with an unfinished project thousands of miles from home, unless there is a buyer prepared to pay up for her design vision.
Sponsored by ING Direct Home Insurance.
This networking kit from Netgear will get you surfing and sharing files wirelessly. Range Max technology gives a constantly fast signal all around the home, and it's just £79. Great! This way. Also in the sale is TomTom SatNav for just £199. Touchscreen menu with full UK postcode search. A top brand and £40 off.
We'll take that too. Ben, this way, it's over here.
Internet prices to take home today. PC World. The best of both worlds.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has died.
A compelling new film. Helen Mirren is superb. Brilliantly entertaining. The best film of the year. Directed by Academy Award nominee Stephen Frears. The Queen.
Be a high rate saver. Just invest a little money and you know it's gonna go real far. Do yourself a favor. So deposit every month and take advantage of our AER. It's much better than your savings jar.
Save monthly for a year and get 7% with a Halifax regular saver.
Right. Bob?
Bit overdressed, aren't they?
I'm just sorting out my car insurance. Well, I call the AA team. They search over 20 insurance companies to find me their best quote.
Okay, 40% less with a full money-back guarantee if you find a cheaper quote.
Not bad.
Give us a call.
To find out if you could save up to 40%, call the AA team. Here to get you a better deal.
Dodge Caliber SXT with air conditioning, leather upholstery is standard, and automatic transmission at no extra cost.
Silly little fairy.
The new Dodge Caliber. It's anything but cute.
Pretty woman, walking down the street. Pretty woman, the kind I like to meet. Pretty woman.
When it comes to must-haves, George have it all. Now at Asda, more for you for less.
Introducing our latest breakthrough, new Finish 5-in-1, the only dishwashing tablet with added power boost action to help boost its cleaning power on meaty stains. Way ahead of the second best-selling competitor tab, new Finish 5-in-1 for outstanding cleaning power.
At Hoover, we offer you a choice of 8, 12 or 15 place settings. When it comes to detergent, we only recommend one.
Now with VAT-free sale prices, this bedroom's only £185 in MFI's up to half-price sale. You dream it, we'll make it happen.
Sponsored by ING Direct Home Insurance.
Pauline and Simon have taken on an incredibly ambitious project. They're building 2 luxury villas in Montenegro. They're hoping to make enough money to be mortgage-free in the UK, but they still don't have enough money to actually finish building the 2 villas. They've invested everything they've got in a country they know very little about and in a business they've no experience in. Their hopes are running high, but so are the stakes. They're investing in a property that's the first of its kind in Montenegro, with no real certainty that buyers will want or be prepared to pay for Pauline's high-spec design. Add to that, they need to sell one villa before they can afford to finish building the second.
The idea is the top floor will have living area, middle floor, bedrooms.
With the pressure on, local agent Mark brings more potential buyers to the site.
We've had a mixed bag of investors look at it so far. Irish, Latvian, Russian and English. All of them have been fairly positive and bullish about the project, and they felt that the asking price was really quite fair.
Well, we're looking for villa sites that people would like to come out here and spend their holidays with sea views, which obviously this has got. And you've got the climate as well, and you've got easy access from the UK airports, which is just over 2 hours to come down here.
But no one's buying right now. And Mark thinks that's because of the upcoming referendum about whether Montenegro should become independent from neighbouring Serbia.
So the idea is parking open. There's a few of the major investors that we're dealing with that are holding a decision until after the referendum. There's a common view here that after the referendum prices will jump a fairly substantial amount if Montenegro is independent.
Along the coast, agricultural consultant Steve Goss is also gambling everything, including his pension, for a chance to be mortgage-free. He's taken on the construction of a block of 4 flats, and like Pauline and Simon, Steve doesn't have enough money to complete the project. One sale will give him enough money to finish, and just a few months into the build, he has good news.
So this is a flat we've sold to our first buyer from Moscow. We got it on the website, priced just below 170,000. She didn't want to pay that, and we ended up getting around 140,000. And that's more discount than I wanted to give. That £140,000 means I could go ahead and build the building now. We basically had a hole in the ground and were starting to do some work on foundations. And I didn't have the cash to build the building, and I was starting to look like a monopoly board in the penultimate stages. Anything I could mortgage was mortgaged. That meant her 140,000 meant I could just carry on without any delay and build the building.
Steve can now finish his development. Pauline and Simon can only hope for the same good fortune. The longer their villa remains on the market, the longer their savings are tied up in a foreign country. Pauline's left nervously waiting for the outcome of the referendum. A yes vote for independence could send house prices rocketing. A no vote might make investors lose confidence, leaving Pauline unable to sell her villa at all.
The worst thing that can happen is, I suppose, is the bottom can fall out of it, but I can't see why that would happen. It has all the potential that Croatia has. I mean, as a benchmark, Croatia is a very good one. Can't see why, unless something absolutely desperate happens, that Montenegro shouldn't take off in the same way.
It's May, and the result of the referendum is yes to independence for Montenegro. But over the following weeks, the market fails to take off and the villa remains unsold. Pauline and Simon were banking on an early sale to fund the rest of their building project. But as they've discovered to their cost, talk is cheap. A real sale is about money in the bank. Their only option now is to go deeper into debt. With no sale and build costs going up, Pauline and Simon are forced to make a difficult decision.
We decided to take an extra mortgage in the UK. We eventually expect the project cost in excess of £400,000. We have the facility of a mortgage there, but we're fully prepared for that and, decided that that's the way we need to go. The monthly repayments on the interest-only mortgage, being in excess of £2,000 a month, will obviously hit the pocket, but it's not forever. It's just purely during the period of sale of the house, which we hope isn't going to be too long.
Back in Herz-Egg Novi, Steve's block of 4 apartments are shaping up well. He's already sold 1 apartment to a Russian property speculator, and Steve's kept in touch, and this regular contact seems to have paid off.
We struck up a good relationship with them. Yeah, she was expressing concern what's going on, so I fed her photos, I kept her in touch, we made some changes she wanted. She felt part of it. She came back a little bit later and said, what would the price be for second flat? So we started talking about that, and then she said, well, what would the price be for the whole building? So we swallowed hard and started talking about that. She and her partner flew over from Moscow, and we had an interesting bit of negotiation, and we finally agreed a price for the whole building of £550,000.
This is fantastic news. When the apartments are completed, Steve will walk away with a £200,000 pre-tax profit within 10 months. A staggering return for a £185,000 investment. Steve decides to reinvest in another plot of land further down the coast. He's confident that he can keep on making money, and lots of it.
The agents are telling me it can go up 3 times. Maybe that's optimistic, but it's only going one direction.
Not only can he pay off his mortgage, he's now planning an even bigger change of fortune.
What started off as a little investment, a bit of a punt, has become a major life change. So my plan now is to stop working, I'll stop doing my current work at the end of this year, to come out here, live in Montenegro, and full-time develop at least 1 more site. So in the course of a year, I've gone from being a consultant in agricultural economics to a property developer. That was never planned.
While Steve enjoys a successful gamble, it's a different story with Pauline and Simon. They're mortgaged to the hilt just to finish one of their 2 luxury villas. But now, after 5 months of building work, one of the villas is nearing completion. Pauline's back in Montenegro to check progress and supervise the final stages of the build.
I am enjoying it. I'll enjoy it even more when I've actually finalised and seen, you know, what will be installed. But yeah, it is the fun bit. But as I say, it's that crucial 10%, because whoever buys that property, I'm really not going to be interested in the fact that I've spent an awful lot of money on the highest quality reinforced concrete available. What they're going to be looking at is, have I got nice taps?
From the start of this project, Pauline has had a very clear idea of the contemporary look she wants. But she's rapidly realising the building team in Montenegro are struggling with her design vision.
There are 2 issues in here, actually. This is something I tried to resolve last time, and again, it got lost in translation. This is meant to be a shelf. We'd also discussed the fact that we would have square, top-standing basins here. I've come back and there's this oval hole that accommodates a sort of let-in basin, which isn't what I want. All I want is what I've been quoted, and that's what we have to have.
There also seems to be a problem with the pool.
Well, there is some issue over the pool at the moment, which I'm sure can be resolved, but essentially when the project was first constructed and put together, this was a saltwater pool, pumps up from the sea, and at the moment they're saying it's probably a difficulty to pump the seawater up. We paid for this as part of the project, and I feel quite within my rights to actually insist that that's what happens, and that's what I'm going to do.
Having been away from site, Pauline has a long list of gripes.
Want more stuff?
No. I just want to be sure these are just for shavers, not normal, not for hairdryer or anything like that.
You mean the voltage?
Yeah, but it's a different socket. In the UK, it's a different socket for shaver than for...
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
But there's another more worrying problem. The villa still hasn't sold. Could the asking price of £800,000 be too high? Pauline wants a second opinion and has invited another local agent, Anne Ferrier-Illick, to visit the villas. All other agents have been very positive, but Anne isn't quite as convinced.
It's a very, very big building, actually, and for a single dwelling, very unusual in that respect. I think normally someone developing this kind of project would be looking to make it into apartments. Their proximity to each other might be slightly off-putting to someone wanting to spend the kind of money that I suspect that Pauline is hoping for. How long it's going to take her to complete the second one is also going to be a bit of an issue for someone buying the first house, because they may not want to be living next to a building site for however many months it's going to take her to complete that. This is a very novel project here, so it's going to be difficult to see exactly what people are looking for in this respect. It is totally new, and there may be a buyer out there for the 800,000, but I think that's probably a little bit overpriced myself.
I've had several agents come, and those that are working with what is considered to be the top end of the market here have valued it more highly. Those that are working with slightly lower budget properties obviously have a slightly different perspective on it.
Pauline's not disheartened, but the pressure to sell is mounting. The next day, Pauline calls Mark and Dragon, the architect, on site. With a serious question mark over her profit margins, Pauline needs to make sure she's getting what she's already paid for.
Quality on that thing.
Yeah, or we can have a word with them.
Well, not a word, if they need to go through the whole list and resolve it, really. We've got to move this bath, yeah? What? You think it's okay there? Well, I've thrown out better baths than this. Who chose it? The builder?
Builder. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you can let the builder choose the sanitary ware, can you? Because that's your job and my job. So are we saying we can't get a plain bath? You can't get a plain bath here in Montenegro. This villa is about design, that's what it's about.
But the bigger problem is the pool and getting water into it.
What we decided was a saltwater
Please,
pool.
you must decide. Do you want to pool or not to pool? It's very simple.
I want the pool that we discussed, which is a saltwater pool with a pump.
It's not possible to use water from sea now because you didn't have license for that.
Yeah, but what are we saying? Are we saying that when we get the license that you will put a pump there to pump the seawater up?
Yes, but in tender pump and equipment for pool, not in camp. You look.
When the jacuzzi was taken off, at the same time all the pool equipment was taken off, and they stuck to a simple design like a bath, which doesn't include.
No, we talked about a saltwater pool with a pump.
What I'm told is the quotation that's in
I hear
writing
what you're
doesn't
saying.
include that. Now
There's
a mix. There's a mix.
It's not possible to put something in project if it's not legal. I not use my license.
I understand.
Why?
Even in the UK, when you're dealing in the same language, you can expect builders to misunderstand. When you're using a different language, you're trying to communicate over a distance, and where you also have different ways of doing things. The type of things that perhaps people are now considering to be normal in the UK have yet to filter through to here. Your sort of Terence Conrads and your designer-type homes haven't quite got to this market yet, so the builders are learning a little bit about Western tastes.
What I'm saying is that they're meant to be projected taps. I had to put my foot down to some extent there. I wanted them to know how I felt about it and make them aware of how passionately I care about this stage of the build.
The weight of all this pressure is now beginning to take its toll on Pauline.
I'm not a technician. Surely the engineer tells you what size boiler and pump you need.
Well, again, I wouldn't rely on UK-based assumptions. All I'm doing is relaying
Yeah, I understand,
the points that are being made.
I'm not up for this at the moment. I sat on the meetings where we discussed a saltwater pool with a pump as part of the concept.
Yeah. Put their feet in the
you don't have a pool with water that's not circulating, do you? Because otherwise it's a pond.
To get top dollar, Pauline needs top spec, and she has to do everything she can to make it happen. And after months of pushing her team of architects and builders to the limit, that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow might just finally be in sight.
If it goes at the market value, yeah, we could end up with £500,000.
Sponsored by ING Direct Home Insurance.
At Allied, we believe that beautiful new flooring should make a huge impact in your home, not in your pocket. So our lowest price guarantee means you won't need to compromise choice or quality for price. For your local Allied store, call now on 08000 932 932.
No, these are not instant. Louis, Mr. Macusa, there's been a huge mistake. He was about to send a batch of high-quality Arabica beans to Kenko for their instant coffee.
I commend your enthusiasm, but Kenko use the same high-quality beans in their instant as they do in their roast and ground. Remind me, who are you exactly?
I'm your gap year student, Mr. Macusa.
More like a gap between the ears, if you ask me.
Kenko, now with a richer, fuller taste.
Smile, It Confuses People is the #1 album from Sandy Tom. Includes the #1 hit, I Wish I Was a Punk Rocker, and the new single, What If I'm Right. Smile, It Confuses People, out now.
It's my own little world in there. I've got guitar lessons I've downloaded, my airplane survival DVDs. They save my life on these long flights. I like to take tons of crazy photos. Oh man, that's my friend's video. Artists email me graphics for my snowboard line. Like, love this, lose that. I pretty much got a random life. You never know where the snow's gonna fall.
HP Pavilion Notebooks. The computer is personal again.
If your smoke alarm battery dies, you don't have a smoke alarm. Check them once a week. Push the button, not your luck.
Who will you be without that cigarette in your hand? You'll never know until you quit. Lose the smoke. Keep the fire. With Nicotine L, the patch that keeps going 24/7 to help give you a smoke-free life. Nicotine L.
How far would you go to save your child's life? Could you lure them to a secret location and ambush them? In a controversial new program, the addiction specialist Tracy Towner leads drug addicts into the ultimate confrontation with their families. Intervention, We're Coming to Get You, after 1 year to pay off your mortgage.
Sponsored by ING Direct Home Insurance.
Pauline and Simon have sunk hundreds of thousands of pounds into their ambitious project in the hope of being mortgage-free and set for life. Now it's crunch time, and they're about to find out how much money they could walk away with. It's almost 6 months since Simon and Pauline started building this incredible first-of-its-kind development in Montenegro. She now has to get the project finished and, more importantly, sold. Having been horrified at the finishes being done on site and to ensure nothing else gets lost in translation, Pauline is basing herself in Bigother for the final push.
I really need to be here full-time, overseeing what's happening. I'm now checking the fine-tuning, making sure that what's going in is correct. And I think probably this week is crucial that I'm here.
Top of Pauline's headaches is the swimming pool. On her last trip, she'd been told they couldn't get access to the shoreline in order to pump seawater into her pool.
We've met with the government agencies in charge of the foreshore and the coast, and we've discussed with them your permits for the punta, the marina at the front, bringing the pipes up from the sea, mounting a pump down on the punta so that you don't get any noise in the house, and that will provide your water supply.
Pauline gets her water in her pool and her mooring for a boat, but at a hefty price.
I believed originally that it was included in the build cost, but I found out now that it isn't. There has been an increase in cost of around about £20,000, but we've got a working pool. That was the main criterion.
And it's just in time. It's July, 6 months since the start of the build, and it's prime selling season, with holidaymakers and plenty of wealthy yacht owners in town. Pauline now rushes to get a showroom in the villa ready.
This needs to be here.
Not in the center.
No, two, because otherwise it will...
Yes. Very good.
Very good, yeah.
Yes.
This goes level here, at the bottom here. And this goes...
Like this in the picture?
Yeah.
This is one ambitious project. A huge first-time overseas development in an unproven market. In theory, it was sheer madness. But the project is stunning, and with the showroom finished, Pauline's attention to detail is starting to shine through. With one house almost completed, time to get the local agents in for a final valuation.
It's the sort of place that you dream of, and I would very much like one myself like this.
If you compare with something traditional what was here, especially during the communist time, after all this, it looks like a fairy tale.
There is a certain client for this type of design, but there's probably 5%, but there is a market for it, absolutely.
It's a positive response, but what price are these agents prepared to market it for?
It's about 1.2 million of euros, or I don't know, in pounds, maybe 830,000.
830,000 pounds.
I would say a realistic valuation at the moment is €1 million, which is around about £700,000.
What I think it's worth is €1.5 million, which is approximately £1 million.
The total build cost for the land and one completed villa was £300,000. She now has valuations ranging from a minimum of £700,000 and even a possible top-end valuation of £1 million. With an average valuation of £843,000, Pauline could make a staggering pre-tax profit of over £500,000 from just one villa, which means they could cover all the costs of both villas and still have enough to pay off their UK mortgage.
I'm thrilled with the valuations that I've had on the house. If it goes at the market value, yeah, we could end up with £500,000, which is fabulous. It actually means that it will enable us to pay off our mortgage and complete the second house, which was always what we were aiming for.
If they do manage to sell at that level, they plan to keep the second villa as a stunning holiday home and a debt-free asset, worth a cool £750,000.
There isn't any question about selling the second one. That will be our dream home, and the small elements here that have perhaps slight compromises. I won't necessarily have to make next door because I've been through the process once, so the learning curve has been quite swift, and I can apply it to the second house.
It looks like Pauline's huge gamble might just pay off. She took on a vast project, all on a hunch that this new market would provide huge returns.
If you want to jump into an emerging market at this level, you do have to make that leap of faith. I've done nothing like this before abroad. I chose to do it in Montenegro. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you're going to do it, in for a penny, in for a pound, you know, or several £1,000s. This case.
But finding that buyer at that price in any emerging market can, as Pauline is finding out, take time. Next week, Lindsay and Roger are risking everything by building 22 apartments in a 5-storey development in Bulgaria.
You've got to be a total idiot to try and build an apartment block of 22 apartments, really.
They're hoping to walk away with over £500,000 in just 1 year.
That's a result, that is a result, yeah. 2006 could be the year we make a lot of money, it could be the year we go bankrupt.
But their homes, life savings and friendship are all on the line.
In future, if you're going to go into business, do it on your own.
If you're thinking of investing abroad, go to channel4.com/4homes for essential tips on buying property overseas. Next on 4, an addiction expert uses dramatic shock